Hello everyone and welcome to the 2025 Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. Second feature card of the day. What? I'm back. But this time I brought a special guest. We've got Parker Welck, who you guys saw earlier. We're going to be talking about Gannon Buhr, Connor Rock, Ricky Wysocki, and of course, Anthony Barela. A little heavy on the Arizona love, but I can handle that.
Those guys are some of the best players in the entire world, so I'm not complaining. I hope nobody else is either.
You got to be silly if you don't want to watch the top 3 or 4 in the entire field here, stacking up a bunch of money. I was looking at their money from last year. Insane. Here we are on hole 1, though, Parker.
Yeah, it's 393 feet, and this is not what you want to see, a giant water carry straight out of the car. I mean, hopefully these guys warmed up. I'm sure they did. But you want to swing a giant hyzer out wide and land safely. 2 is great, but honestly, 3 is fine here with all the out of bounds.
Gannon Buhr to lead things off. A 2-time defending champion here at the event. And that's a great start.
I did notice that Ricky Wysocki joined very late during registration. And I think this is going to be a very tight race to the end. I'm already calling it.
Yeah. Connor, somehow better than what we just saw from Buhr. I asked Rick the same. I'm like, what are you doing? You haven't played this in like 4 or 5 years. And he's like, I don't know. It's in my backyard, and it's a lot of fun. And okay. And, of course, we love to see it. Anthony Barela, who's been close to this event as well, and of course would love to pick up a W, and incredible start.
I think that's going to be the best grouping that we will see all day. That has to be.
So after a drive you don't want to see, a putt you don't want to have, right, on hole number 1?
Absolutely not. Looking straight at the water on your first hole of the day, it's not usually fun, but a guy like Rick normally takes that down.
Relatively calm at the moment. This is a 1:54 p.m. card. You guys saw the other feature card that went off just before 11 a.m.
And today was, I think, the nicest day we're going to have when it comes to warmth.
Yeah, things are talking about getting a little bit colder over the upcoming days throughout this weekend as well. So we move to hole number 2, the first par 4.
Yeah, 703 feet. You're going to see a lot of people taking hyzer each way, forehand out left over the water or backhand up the middle. There's an OB line on the right side the entire way, and of course you got to worry about the water. But you're going to see people play hyzer coming in towards this palm tree, skip up towards the basket, and hope you get that birdie.
Safe, conservative, pretty much what you're looking to do, right?
Yeah, these guys really don't need to get much further past this first grouping of trees in order to attack the basket. And I also want to point out, I think this is probably the slickest tee pad of the entire course. So probably played a factor there with Connor. I saw him checking his feet.
And that, as we saw during the other feature card, that OB on the right can come into play as you ultimately parallel hole number 3 over there. But everyone on this card seems to be safe. We don't see a lot of forehands out of Connor, but when he does, looks to be pretty effective there.
Yeah, I mean, his backhand is such a weapon. He doesn't really normally need to throw the sidearm, but he definitely has it.
With that check up, just barely in time for Barela. Hole number 2 here plays as the second most difficult hole on the course. Hole number 1 plays also as one of the most difficult holes on the course. So 2 out of your first 3 holes that you play are some of the most challenging on the entire property.
A little wide, and now that putt is going to be facing straight at the water.
This average 4.3. So even a par 4 here that Connor's lining up. Looks like he's still going to be gaining some strokes on some of the field.
Doesn't want any part of it laying up. And I will say, if you've been to Fountain Hills, when the fountain picks up, the wind picks up as well.
I think that's also in a very rare category of watching Gannon Buhr lay up.
That is true. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, what it takes to get Gannon to lay up. Very smart move there, as you were just explaining, but it doesn't happen often. Both AB and Rick are in for birdies. And then a couple of pars. I feel like if you somehow get one of the first two, you're probably pretty happy. Yeah. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. I think 1 through 2, you're looking nice because the next few holes are a couple you really want to get.
Relatively short hole number 3, one of the easiest on the course.
Yeah, 294 feet. Little sketchy OB line on the right. It is a lot tighter than I normally think. You're going to see a lot of people just throwing hyzers, either forehand or backhand, out wide and have it skip back towards the basket.
We see kind of a mid-line drive by AB. We see spike hyzers. We see forehands. We see straight at it. Do you have any words of advice here? Just pick your poison?
It's honestly whatever you're the most comfortable with. Like, you know, a lot of people have their favorite disc, and that's the disc that they normally throw on it.
Wider coming from Buhr, but that easily comes back into range. And he's asking for it to skip as well. Kind of like what we heard from Buhr, telling it to go. I didn't do the official math yet, but what's the average height on this card?
Tall. Very
right?
tall.
Look at them. I mean,
I did not even realize. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking 6 feet plus for everybody, and then some. It's like a normal basket height to them.
Yeah.
You and I need a step stool.
I think you, I mean, I hope you edited me trying to get my disc out of the basket out earlier. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Little extra challenge to it for sure. And what a star frame here. You know, nobody's surprised by that. And they move to an even easier hole as they're going to head over to the 4th. Big thanks to Arizona's own distinguished doodle. The 4th, just 250 feet.
Yeah, a lot of people are really only throwing a putter or a mid-range to get to this one. Just going to swing it out wide and let the disc do the work. Hopefully just get barely over the wall, skip up to the basket. It should be a no problem here for these guys.
Obviously, anything that doesn't land inside the island goes immediately to the drop zone with penalty. Has come to rest inside the island, that is. It's early season, so even the camera operators always have to get used to the speed in which Ricky Wysocki gets up and throws. He's like you, just up and firing, and I'm here for it. I absolutely love it, but it takes a little getting used to as Gannon flashes just deep of the basket.
Ricky with a little more meat on the bone, looking at a putt there than you normally want, but one of the best putters in the entire world. Same with this guy.
You're definitely mad at yourself if somehow you've let holes 3 or 4 get away from you. Gotta assume 4 comes in as one of the shortest. Yeah, it's the 3rd shortest on the course. 6 and 7 are just a bit shorter. And we're gonna see back-to-back star frames. 8 for 8 on holes 3 and 4 from this card. Big thanks to our friends over at Resistance Disc giving us some discount action out there. Use the code DGGUY and you'll get yourself some free shipping on any order over $30 as we head to hole 5.
441 feet. You definitely don't want to go long in the road, although if you do go just past the basket, it's going to be an easy tap in 3. You'll see a ton of just spike hyzers over the trees. All these guys throw a mile, so I think that's what we'll see. Oh, that's a tricky spot.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I was just talking about the height, and it may have to come into play here.
Solid shot for Ricky. A little left of the tree. I think normally people want to crash like towards into the tree or just behind it. Chooses to go in front of it, giving himself kind of a easier open look, but a little further away from the basket.
Yeah, if there's a place to miss, I like the idea of missing left, just like Ricky, because when you're where Gannon is, that tree's going to come into play, and you're obviously going to have some obstruction. I like the miss to the left when you're Wysocki in this case, if you're not parked. It looks to be closest to the pin for Connor. All right. Okay. To be fair, I did edit out some significant deliberation. He really struggled with left, right, how he wanted to do it, then finally going to a knee. But a solid putt. Wysocki's wide open.
Let's see what we had here for AB. I wonder if he can see the basket.
From this angle, it appears that he can.
Let's just
not
say
quite sure, but yeah, we'll assume maybe actually he couldn't. Certainly an awkward release for him.
Yeah, not every day you have to putt behind a giant electrical box.
Connor now 4 for 5, and that's where AB is going to be along with Gannon. So you can't really argue with those results when you're sitting. This is one of the holes that's commonly missed on this course for birdie as well. So seeing them still sitting at 4 under through 5 holes, pretty impressive as we head over to the 6th.
This one seems to be probably on the easier side, 233 feet. You're going to see everyone just throw a spike hyzer with maybe an overstable putter or mid-range and just let the disc do the work, float back left, and maybe even give it an ace run. You just got to avoid missing right because that's when it hits the hillside and rolls out of bounds. Just like that. That's what you can't do. Now he's giving himself kind of an in-between shot, in between a jump putt and a throw. It's kind of an awkward range for a lot of people.
Good spot to be there for Barela. Plenty of angle for Wysocki. And Wysocki has called it. Yeah, that's going to actually be out of bounds after the roll, just like you were saying, as Connor He's going to pitch up. Rick rolled down the hill out into the street. We saw some heroics here in the first feature card earlier today. See if Rick can do the same.
That's a hard putt. That really is.
And I was just going to say, isn't it also interesting to see Rick, how he, on any moment, goes from a spin putt to more of a pitch putt and then back to a pit, you know, like just whatever the situation calls for.
Yeah, he's done it a million more times than any other person playing out here. So he's got every single part of the game dialed. Even the tap-ins. Oh, not the mini pickups.
No. Oh, no. Another one.
That's embarrassing, Rick. Come on.
Man, we had to do the very short hole 7, the shortest hole in the entire tournament.
But it's kind of sketchy at 210 feet. A lot of people throwing just up the middle backhand putters. Hopefully it grips the grass, but you'll see a lot of people throw a sidearm as well over the trees to the left and try and spike in.
I feel like that sidearm, and we've seen it more and more, like you were just saying, that's only become popular in the last couple of years. And it kind of surprises me because there's so much more green space. And I understand how hyzers work as we're watching Gannon slide into the water there, but I'm still shocked to see as many forehands go out and around the left side. Barela, backhand.
I think that's why people elect to do that. That's kind of a low-hanging branch there. You hit that, you're going to be out of bounds, 5 out of 8 times probably.
And that one checks up. One of the scarier putts that you'll have on the round, but seems to be pretty calm at the moment. And Rick will be faced with the same, maybe even a little longer, actually.
You can't run that putt.
No.
He's going to have to pitch up and take his medicine.
Here's the pro move, folks. Goes in with the left hand, not the throwing hand. If you get any diseases or anything, at least it'll be on your non-throwing hand in that water.
Yeah.
But Rick.
Great
nice
putt. No fear.
Hole 7 is a tricky little fella. I know I say it's always the shortest hole of the weekend, but plenty of danger here.
Got it in. Connor's looking really good.
Yeah.
I must say.
Incredible start here. 5 under through 7. And Gannon actually closest to the pin after going out of bounds still. And pretty easy opportunity to save the par, which is a very common score on this particular hole.
Oh my. Must have misread the wind or something. That's not normal for Gannon. He normally hits those putts.
And that's out far enough. I don't think that's retrievable. Not at least easily during the round. Obviously, he's got other putters.
But you got to be thinking he's got like that one main dog.
Probably.
That he uses.
Now, as many of you know, Gannon can either go to where he was last in bounds, which is what he's looking to be doing. If, for some reason, he liked the angle or the distance, for whatever reason, from the other side, he could have re-putted from where he was. We saw that in the first feature card as well. And this time, the comebacker, but a double bogey for Gannon.
And that came quick.
It certainly did.
Really quick. He only threw the disc 3 times, and big punish.
Speaking of coming up quick, we've got the Disc Golf Expo is right around the corner, coming up next weekend, I believe. And they've got a ton of stuff going on. Not only do they have one there, but they'll also have one in Dallas, Texas. got to admit, I'm mad I won't be there again this year. But then when I realize it's because I'm going to be in Thailand, somehow it equals out. But you guys got to get there. And if you can't make it next weekend, they're going to have one in Dallas, Texas, March 1st and 2nd, as we head to our next par 4, hole number 8.
Kind of a tricky one. Should be a pretty routine birdie, I think, for these guys, as long as they get the tee shot off. You're either going to see a giant hyzer around all the trees or just kind of a flat or maybe flex shot over everything, leaving you just kind of a pretty routine upshot towards the pin.
The gallery likes it. We kind of have to rely sometimes on the gallery here. This is so difficult to track the disc and to have a good understanding of where you're set up. And Ricky out and over the side of the hill, not a problem.
So far, all of these look great. I mean, I wasn't really expecting everyone to go up the middle, but because I guess there was no wind or even like a slight head left to right, they're going to choose to go up the middle. If there was like a right to left or something, they're going to be throwing way wide around everything and just letting kind of the wind do the work for them.
Yeah, there's only 2 par 4s on the entire course, and that is hole number 2 and then this one as Rick's just a little standstill. Making it look easy.
Yeah, I mean, if you turn your brain off and don't really think about the water, there's just nothing in the way, really. So don't think about the water, miss that tree on the right, and should be looking good. Oh, this is not a friendly spot to be. There is only one tree, really, in the fairway, which is this tree.
Needs it to sit. Oh, and just too much. So in the water again. Buhr struggling back to back here on 7 and 8.
Yeah, and I felt like that was kind of a bad break as well. The disc just kind of popped up a little too quick and got on edge.
A little flick of the wrist, not a problem. Buhr has to be thinking about what just happened on the previous Peninsula Green, right?
Yeah, there's no way that he misses this putt now. Oh my goodness.
It pops up, but it doesn't roll into the water.
He must have been worried about missing high.
Yeah, because that one comes in low. Wysocki, routine. Cleans that one up. Real quick, I want to say just thank you to everybody. We've got a bunch of supporters here throughout this week. I know you guys have seen the action from Resistance Disc along with Disc Golf Expos. And have a few more jump on throughout the weekend. Pastry Dyes giving us 20% off if you use the code TheDiscGolfGuy. So thank you guys. Like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Last hole of the front 9.
Yeah, and real quick, I'd like to shout out the fans that were there as well. There was quite a lot of people that showed up to support, and they're always clapping and cheering and just bringing the good vibes for us. So I appreciate you guys.
You're going to need them on this hole, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Hole 9, 406 feet. You're going to see people, I think these guys are all going to be going for this pin. It's going to be like a tight hyzer off the tee, and you got to get the distance right here. Looked like it landed safe, and from there he's going to have like a jump putt just straight down the peninsula towards the basket. Ricky looking like he's getting a bit more aggressive.
No, that's going to be safe.
A lot of claps.
You're just really kind of throwing to an area and then hoping you don't get a bad reaction. It's a pop up or skip into the water or whatever. Gannon doesn't love the release, but it won't be too punishing, I don't think. There's going to be plenty of space out there. It's just going to make his approach that much more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty common spot to land just for people that aren't going for the pin, but I think, of course, he was trying to go for the birdie here.
All these years, and I'm just putting together the coincidence of hole 9 at both Vista and at Fountain being the most difficult birdie on the course to get.
Yeah.
Both courses, it's specifically hole 9.
Both giant shots over the water, so.
Yeah. Hey, we're working here, Schlebach. It's a par 3. However, out of 83 competitors today, I think we only saw 2 birdies. 2 total birdies out of 83 competitors. Malachi and Tommy Gunn. So with that, I'm going to say thanks for joining. We got the back 9 coming up. Pretty exciting. We're seeing some pretty good scores here.
Yeah, can't wait to see how they finish up. I think the backside, they're going to get a lot more birdies, and they're going to start firing away here.
All right, everyone. Loving the action. Thanks for joining us here. That's Parker Welck. I'm the disc golf guy. This is what we're seeing through 9 holes of our second feature card out in the beautiful Fountain Hills Disc Golf Course in Arizona. We'll catch you guys on the back 9.